a couple of months ago, a few months back, I came down to PPN in Ipswich, and I thought it'd be great to come and see what House is up to. And I said, do you perchance want someone to come and talk to you? And they was like, well, what do you want to talk about? I was like, I can tell you pretty much about most things. I was just saying earlier, the reason I do most things is I only invest in property within 15 minutes of my front door. And some people might think that's a really bad idea, but for me it means I can actually go see it. If you need to go fix anything, sort anything out, it makes it really easy. But in doing so, that means I've done anything from turning 1-bedroom flats into 2-bedroom flats. I've bought empty properties where I've claimed back all the stamp duty on the purchase of it, knocked down extensions, put new ones up. I've done empty HMOs where they're completely, no student ever wants to live in them. They're absolutely disgusting and turn them into all ensuite HMOs. And then that's kind of snowballed to the stage where I was like, oh, well, we start doing some subdivides, which is basically where you buy one property, you split it into two, to really look for stuff where you've got more than one staircase in it, and that's quite a neat little idea. And then it kind of got me thinking, well, we're kind of getting in the right direction, why don't we just do something a little bit bigger? And inevitably, that's why I've said I can talk about a few different things. It's going to be pretty impossible to string one deal out for the whole process, and I'm going to get pretty bored of it. So I hope you don't. But what I've tried to do is actually show you a live deal, deals that I'm actually working on, and rather than just give you random photos of stuff, it's all stuff that I'm actually working on. So my name's Tristan, as I said. I run a company called ZebraInvest, which is needless to say the shirt. And if any of you have seen outside, there's also a van coming in zebra print as well. And it all just comes down to standing out. And it came down, it was my dad's 60th birthday, and he sort of said, I want you in a black and white outfit. So inevitably, I went along, put some ears on, put a tail on, put a shirt on, and we went as a zebra. And everyone said, you stand out like a sore thumb. And I thought, actually, if you want someone to call you up and say, you know, when you're getting started, like, why don't we do some no money down deals? We'll try and get people who want to sell the houses quick. But if you see Tristan's buying houses, billions of people have got different things like that on the side of it, and no one remembers what the logo is. So I thought, screw it, cover it in zebra print, and someone might remember me. To the extent I was in Sainsbury's one, and someone said, oh, you're the zebra man, aren't you? So I thought I'd say, just to give you an idea, and hopefully give you a little bit more of an idea of who I am, where I've come from, what I've done. In about 2018, I got to the idea in my head, I was like, look, I could probably go out and do this whole property thing myself. Why do I need to keep working for someone else and making money for someone else? I was working for a landlord. I built them out a portfolio of rent-to-rents, took them from 6 to 28 in 12 months. I've been working for a freehold ground rent investor, and then I just sat there and thought, look, actually, there's loads of creative ways to buy property. Why don't I just buy the properties for myself? And in doing that, I then went to PPN in London, Blackfriars a few times, and then I went to quite a few property investors networks because they were all a bit closer to me at the time. I've presented at 3 of those now. I've then presented in Southampton at Hampshire Property Network, and that was all talking about flips. And then I've then been in the Eastern Daily Press because obviously, who doesn't want to be in the local newspaper on a dry day? Actually, I had a double-page spread, so it was a bit more than that. I've been a property elevator, property graduate, if anyone knows John Howard. Yeah, a few of you do. And then I've been featured in that magazine that you pointed out earlier in YPN. So I've done a bit of everything. So I'm hopefully, I don't know everything at all. I'm always learning from everyone, but I know a little bit. So I was hoping that I could at least tell you a bit about me. So
you also presented in the future.
Presented, pardon?
You also presented in the future.
Yeah, well, evidently.
January 33.
Oh yeah, I got, wait a minute, 33. No, wait. Yes, 23, 33. Good point. When it's 7 o'clock and you're writing slides yourself and you're trying to get home, that's what you get. So I was going to say, the one bit is kind of, some of you might be thinking, why am I here? Admittedly, I work and do most of my stuff with private investors. So if anyone does want to lend money towards a project or anything else like that, I'm more than happy to take it, but I only like working with people who I like working with. So if I don't like working with you, sorry, I'm not taking your money. It's much easier for both of us that way. The other bit is I've got a couple of people who do sessions with me, and I go through and teach them exactly from things from start to finish. I figured I'll just tell you from there at the beginning, because that's the only thing I've got to give you. So I'm not going to be running to the back of the room. I don't have another mastermind to upsell you to. I don't have another little training day that you can come out to. If you want me, you can have me. That's why I was on online dating apps, because it's really great place to find me. Anyway, hopefully we can edit this later. So, As I said, so Zebra, why Zebra? So I always buy empty properties. And everyone can buy whatever you want to, but my idea is I want to buy properties where I have a positive impact. And that means if I buy something that's empty, then I'm not kicking a family out. If you're buying something that's empty, it typically means you're going to be putting it back into use. And it typically also means that you might be able to get, depending on the condition of it, you might be able to get your VAT back on the development, and if it's in bad enough condition, I might not be able to pay stamp duty as well. So there's a lot of bonuses to buying empty. I always buy problem properties, so usually the stuff that no one else wants. And there's a reason. I'm sure, as you all know, if you buy a problem property that no one else wants, you're going to get the best price for it. So typically, I will buy the one that's already fallen through a few times, no one wants to touch it. I'll buy the property you're going to see soon is probably one that no one else wants, but I still think it's gorgeous, so you're not going to put me off on that. I always buy what everyone else passes on. And one of the best things I've found recently, and if anyone in the room here wants to do it because you're in Ipswich, it's great, you're not in Norwich. If you are in Norwich, please don't do it. Is I like buying oversized properties. See, there's a few properties in Norwich where you find them, they're like 200 square metres, 300 square metres, and they're perfect for splitting straight into two houses, but they're also the size that most developers and investors don't want to touch them. They're above the usual 200, 300 grand that a builder's going to go out and buy them themselves and flip them. They're also too small for most developers who are going out buying commercial conversions of projects to do themselves. So they sit right in the middle, but in doing so, loads of people miss them, no one touches them, and they're actually really nice juicy deals because no one's looking at them. So I always buy what other people pass on. As I said, I started in 2019. If anyone hasn't already subscribed to Rachel's podcast, you can hear more on there. But I started in 2019 on the train every single day, listening to information, making notes to get going. So point being, everyone in this room can be up here in 5 years' time, or 3 years' time, or follow house did, or whatever else. You can do it. You just need determination, persistency, and consistency to be able to do it. But I built it in my spare time, got going, and needless to say, I'm here. So the goal with all of my projects, and there's a reason for this for everything, there's always going to be a 25% profit margin. So when I do a flip, and you're in a good market, I have been doing them at 20%. But the main idea is you want to be going for a 25% margin. And the reason being is, especially in the market we're in at the moment, if you're not going to be able to get to the end of it and you're not going to be able to sell the units, you're going to want to be able to refinance them. And lenders at the moment are particularly hot on this. They really want to see that you've got a 25% margin in, because there's also more room for error. And if, for example, there's one project that we've just done recently, I've got a photo of it, and we've just managed to get a valuation of 585,000. And it means they're actually getting a loan to value of 62% on their day one, which actually means, and there's no money left in, so it's rather good. On their day one, which actually means, and there's no money left in, so it's rather good. But the main bit is because we've had that, we actually technically got down valued, because on paper they've turned and said that the minimum loan they'll lend us is 535,000. So as long as you make sure you're aiming for high enough margin, and if you do get down valued, you'll be okay. And you'll see in a minute, I'm going to talk about GDV and looking at how I look at properties, but you also need to be pessimistic, because it's far too easy. I see a few friends of mine who get overexcited about pound per square metre. Oh, it's going to be this big, it's going to be that much. It's like, no, valuers in the UK don't value like that. It's a good indication, but it's not going to be a home run. I aim to now retain properties and rent them out. So the idea, obviously, that says exactly what it does in tin, generating cash flow. And the idea really is to do stuff within a 12 to 18 month turnaround. And the reason I say 12 to 18 months when you're doing commercial development is if it's 12 months if you're going to try and hold on to it. But you're going to end up usually coming up against maybe having conditions you've got to have signed off in your planning report. You might have to get your building for a certain time, or things might go wrong. But if you start with 12 if you aim to hold, and 18 if you want to sell, because the chances are, if you finish your development, and the development should really take for about 9 months, then there's going to be a solid 9 months to sell it. And there's no way in hell, if you think you're going to get this project done in 9 months, you're going to get them all sold and completed by month 12.